We live in a funny, strange, and beguiling world. Every day we hear of weird happenings, crazy events, and head-scratching madness. The following story ticks all of these boxes, especially because it's true. In 1974, a special passport was organised for a former king of Egypt. A fairly normal procedure, except the king was Pharaoh Ramesses II, and he had been dead for 3,000 years. Yes, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds made up. But it really happened. The mummy of Ramesses II had to be flown from Egypt to France for restoration purposes. All good, except a passport was required. Let's take a look at this fascinating tale. Firstly, a few facts about Ramesses. He was one of Egypt's most revered pharaohs, a powerful and wise king. Ramesses achieved plenty during his reign from 1279 to 1213 BC. It wasn't a lazy pharaoh. He lived to 96 years old, had over 200 wives, 96 sons, and 60 daughters, most of whom he outlived. So long was his reign that when he finally died, many people in Egypt believed the world would end without him. He led successful military campaigns, opened up new trade routes, and began an incredible project of architecture. His many victorious battles and conquests filled Egypt with riches, which allowed Ramesses to embark on his building program. This included the temples at Abu Simbel, which can still be seen today. A truly great king. When he died, he was buried at the Valley of the Kings with some illustrious company, such as Tutankhamun and Seti I. His body was moved from time to time by priests who feared thieves might steal the king. There he lay peacefully until 1974. Caretakers of the tomb were concerned the body of Ramesses might not be in ideal condition. It was showing signs of decay and decomposition. They searched around the world for mummification experts and found a group of willing professionals in France. An expert was summoned and he started examining the body of Ramesses. He observed that the body was threatened by fungus and needed immediate restoring to prevent decay. It was decided that Ramesses' body be flown to France and then taken to the Paris Ethnological Museum for a thorough restoration. However, many Egyptian officials were reluctant for such a national treasure to be subjected to the complications of international air travel. Anything could happen, and maybe it wasn't worth the risk. Diplomacy time. The French president flew to Cairo and personally gave his assurance to President Anwar that Ramesses would be treated with the utmost care and respect. All well and good. Just pack him up and send him off. Right? And no. At the time, Egyptian law strictly declared that any persons leaving the country would require a passport, living or dead. This was surely a world first. However, the matter was urgent, and so government officials went busily to work. Getting the paperwork done wasn't too difficult. Date of birth, 1303 BC, occupation, king, and deceased. The passport was looking good, except for one crucial detail: the photo. Photographic experts went to work and finally produced an image that was based on the deceased pharaoh's embalmed face. The result was a very noble-looking face of an elderly man who had clearly experienced much in his life. Good enough. With the passport details taken care of, the next step was the meticulous transportation of the body. A special French military aircraft flew Ramesses' remains from the Cairo Museum and was then greeted by the Garde Républicaine, France's equivalent of a US Marine Honor Guard. From there, the great man was taken to the Paris Ethnological Museum for inspection by a top criminal forensic scientist. He noticed that the pharaoh was approximately 1.75 meters tall, or 5 feet 9 inches, which is unbelievably tall for a person of that era. In fact, Ramesses must have seemed a giant to most people, which no doubt added to his stature. The scientist also noticed several battle wounds and fractures which, no doubt, came from his many conquests. The arrival of the pharaoh was broadcast on national TV in France, with the French government claiming a great diplomatic victory. At the time, many French citizens were highly unimpressed, however, feeling the money spent on a dead Egyptian could have been spent on far more pressing matters. After the examination, his body was flown back to Cairo without any complications. Supplying Ramesses with a passport is unique for two reasons. The most obvious one is that he was deceased. The other is that kings and queens are rarely required to possess a passport. They are above it. For example, Queen Elizabeth certainly doesn't carry a passport because British passports are issued in the name of the Queen, meaning that she is the passport. And it's not just Ramesses II requiring a passport that's very odd. In the United Arab Emirates, falcons are a highly valued creature, and certainly can't go travelling wherever they like. Falconry is an important aspect of the region's Bedouin heritage. While falcons were once used for hunting, the sport of falconry is now big business. As a result, the falcon's high status and monetary value brings the danger of smuggling, so falcons in the Emirates get their own UAE-issued passports in order for them to travel the world to falconry festivals and competitions. Each passport had its own identification number, which corresponds to the number inscribed on the falcon's leg. And it's not just pharaohs and falcons. In the UK, privately owned horses are required to possess a passport. Why? Because in Europe, horse meat is commonly consumed. However, these are horses bred for that specific purpose. They only eat natural foods which make them safe for human consumption. Privately owned horses, however, are typically treated with certain drugs, making them dangerous for human consumption. If they have a passport, authorities will know not to eat them. When it comes to passports, rules are rules, no matter how strange they may seem. Congratulations, Ramesses II, the first pharaoh to fly to Europe.